All right, let's just jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here with us today because we are tackling something that touches literally millions of lives all over the globe. We're going to break down the complexities of managing obesity, but, and this is key, we're doing it entirely through the lens of sustainable, real-world lifestyle changes. No magic pills, no extreme crash diets, just practical, grounded strategies. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the chaotic energy of extreme fitness trends, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to look at the science, the psychology, and the daily habits that actually work.
So here is our game plan for today. We'll start by understanding the epidemic, then we'll unpack the causes and risks, dive into the 5 pillars of change, talk about support strategies, and finally, go over the most common mistakes to avoid.
Okay, part 1, understanding the epidemic, and why this is a massive concern both globally and locally. You know, to start solving any problem, we really have to define it clearly first. Clinically speaking, obesity is a condition characterized by excessive body fat accumulation that may impair health. It's most commonly assessed using the body mass index, or BMI. By grounding our conversation right here in this objective medical definition, we can strip away all the stigma. We need to look at this as a public health challenge, not a personal failure. It's a health condition, plain and simple. And just like any other condition, it requires a structured approach to manage.
And the data is pretty wild on this. It shows us that this is a growing public health concern globally, for sure. But it's especially heavy in places undergoing super rapid lifestyle shifts, like Kenya, for example. So what's actually driving this trend? It's a combo of modern, poor dietary habits, increasing physical inactivity, and just broader shifting lifestyles. We are simply moving way less and eating very differently than we did generations ago. And well, our bodies are keeping the score.
Moving right along to section 2, causes and health risks. Let's look a little bit beyond the surface level here.
Obesity is driven by a really complex web of factors. It's kind of like a giant puzzle. Sure, behavioral elements like overeating high-calorie foods, chugging sugary drinks, or late-night snacking play a part, but guys, it is not all about willpower. There are deep biological and psychological drivers here too. Genetics and hormonal factors play a huge role, meaning some folks are literally just predisposed to store fat differently, or they experience hormonal shifts that drastically crank up their hunger signals. Add in modern stress, which spikes your cortisol and triggers emotional eating, and you can see exactly why this is such a widespread, tough challenge.
So, understanding the causes is step 1. But we also absolutely have to respect the physiological risks of carrying excessive body weight. We're talking about an increased risk for type 2 diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and some pretty significant joint problems, just from the physical strain on your skeletal structure. These are serious, life-altering conditions, and that's exactly why managing this is so incredibly critical.
But here's the real kicker. Beyond all the clinical diagnoses, the ultimate stake here is a reduced quality of life. This isn't just about some numbers on a medical chart. It's about your daily energy, your mobility, your mental well-being, and just your ability to participate fully in your own life. Tackling this matters because your quality of life matters.
All right, let's get to the solutions. Section 3, the 5 pillars of change. This is your roadmap to health. Managing obesity effectively requires a complete 360-degree approach. Here are the 5 holistic lifestyle pillars: healthy eating, regular physical activity, behavior change, adequate hydration, and quality sleep. Notice how it's not just diet and exercise here? It's the whole shebang, a completely comprehensive approach to how you live your daily life. Let's break these down. Let's look at pillars 1 and 2. Healthy eating absolutely does not mean starving yourself. It just means eating a balanced diet rich in fruits, veggies, whole grains, and proteins. It's about naturally cutting back on processed, high-sugar foods and practicing some portion control. Then, we pair that with physical activity. The target? At least 30 minutes of daily exercise. Walking, jogging, cycling, whatever gets you moving. But here is the secret weapon. You have to pick activities you actually enjoy. If you hate running, please don't run. Go dance, swim, or hike. Finding something fun is literally the only way you'll stay consistent.
Next up, behavior change and adequate hydration. Behavior change is where the real mental work happens. It means recognizing and avoiding emotional eating, maybe keeping a food diary to stay mindful, and setting realistic goals. And hey, do not underestimate hydration. Drinking enough water every day actively supports your metabolism. Plus, proper hydration is an amazingly effective tool to help curb overeating, mostly because our bodies constantly confuse being thirsty with being hungry.
Our final pillar is quality sleep. And honestly, this is the one that surprises people the most. You should be aiming for 7 to 8 hours a night. Why? Because the science tells us that poor sleep can actually increase your hunger hormones. When you're sleep deprived, your body desperately craves quick energy, usually in the form of sugar and carbs. So getting enough rest isn't just about feeling awake. It's quite literally a weight management strategy.
Section 4. Support and Counseling Strategies. Let's talk a bit about the mental game of weight management. Whether you're guiding a friend or counseling yourself on this journey, these strategies are vital. First off, always encourage gradual changes. Drastic diets usually just result in drastic rebounds. You want to promote self-discipline and consistency over intense short bursts of effort. And even more importantly, you absolutely must support a positive body image and protect your mental health through all of this. Don't do it alone. Rope in your family or find some community support. And finally, monitor your progress so you can actually celebrate those small wins and pivot when you need to. Empathy and psychology are just as crucial as whatever's on your plate.
I actually want to pause for a second on this quote straight from our source material. Managing obesity is not about quick fixes, but about adopting sustainable lifestyle changes. This right here is the core thesis of everything we're talking about in this explainer. The fitness industry loves to sell you a 30-day shred or some magic detox tea, but real, lasting health, that's found in the calm, quiet consistency of daily habits that you can actually maintain for the rest of your life.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Common Mistakes to Avoid. Let's navigate some of the biggest pitfalls on this journey. It is so incredibly easy to fall into the trap of extreme fad diets and skipping meals. But guys, this is a fast track to failure. Skipping meals almost always leads to intense hunger and eventual binge eating, which just creates this awful, vicious cycle. Extreme fad diets might give you a temporary drop on the scale, sure, but they are nutritionally bankrupt and completely impossible to maintain long-term. You always want to choose the path of gradual changes and consistency.
Here are a few more sneaky traps to watch out for. Expecting quick results is a surefire way to get frustrated and quit. Remember, it took time for your body to change in one direction. It's going to take time to change it back. Another huge mistake is over-exercising without proper nutrition. You simply cannot out-train a bad diet, and working out without fueling your body right just leads to burnout and injuries. And lastly, comparing your progress with others. Your biology, your lifestyle, your starting point, they are all entirely unique to you. The only person you should ever compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. But I want to leave you with one final question to think about today. Are you still chasing those exhausting quick fixes, or are you finally ready to build the sustainable habits required for a healthier, happier life? The roadmap is right in front of you. The 5 pillars, the consistency, the self-compassion. The choice of which path to take is entirely up to you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today for this explainer. Keep learning, keep moving, and I'll catch you next time.